Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for March 10th. March 10th is the 69th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, or the 70th day if it's a leap year. There are 296 days remaining until the end of the year. Right now we're looking at tosspot words. Tosspots are words coined by combining a verb and a noun, like spitfire, shunpike, scofflaw. In order for it to be a tosspot word, the noun has to be the object of the verb. So shut-eye is a tosspot, but shut-in is not. Today's word is sawbones. Sawbones is a noun that means a doctor, especially a surgeon. This comes to us from Old English words that mean to cut with a saw and bone. Earliest documented use of the word sawbones is 1837. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes and ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned to the end for outtakes and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Remember also that you can share this video with others with a link in an email or through your social media. You want to do that so your friends know what you know. We're going to start in 1804 when there occurred a formal ceremony to transfer ownership of the Louisiana Territory from France to the United States. On March 10, 1864, President Lincoln signed Ulysses S. Grant's commission to command the U.S. Army. On March 10th of 1876, the first phone call. 3 days earlier, Alexander Graham Bell had received his patent for the telephone, and on this day, he called to his assistant over the new device, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want you," in the first successful test of the telephone. March 10, 1900 is the birthday of Super Centenarian Violet Brown. She lived in Jamaica and was the oldest Jamaican ever, and the fifth oldest person in history at the time of her death in 2017 at 117 years and 189 days. When asked the secret of her longevity, she said that she ate everything in the book except for pork and chicken, and she didn't drink rum and dim tings. The first book of the month selection was published on March 10th, 1926. It was a book called Lolly Willows, or The Loving Huntsman, by Sylvia Townsend Warner. This was about a widow who scandalized her relations by moving to a town involved in witchcraft. Seems not to have been what the Book of the Month Club's 4,000 plus members were expecting, and they weren't thrilled with it. There you go. March 10, 1945, American bombers continued dropping firebombs on Tokyo, Japan. March 10, 1959, the Tibetans gathered around the summer palace of the Dalai Lama in revolt against the Chinese occupation forces. The Tibetans, perhaps correctly, feared that the Chinese might try to kidnap the Dalai Lama, and on this day, 300,000 loyal Tibetans surrounded the palace to keep that from happening. On March 10, 1969, James Earl Ray pled guilty to assassinating Martin Luther King Jr. He later unsuccessfully tried to recant that testimony. On March 10, 1970, the U.S. Army charged several soldiers with war crimes in the Mai Lai massacre. Astronomers discovered the rings of Uranus on March 10, 1977. Interesting and mysterious planet, that one. On March 10, 1988, disco sensation Andy Gibb of the Bee Gees died at the age of 30. In a couple of firsts, the fledgling Warner Brothers WB television network aired the premiere of the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer on March 10th, 1997. And that's all I have for you today. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share if you found this interesting, and that way your friends will know what you know. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. The Volkswagen microbus, my day in history. So many mistakes. Say that again. I'm gonna have to look that up right quick. We're not gonna go into all that, okay. I don't know how all that's gonna go together, or if it's even gonna make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not gonna go. Probably cut all that out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video, we'll see. Changing it up.